Hello, my name is Matthew, and today I had two extremely exciting kind of bookish news or bookish events, and one is so exciting that I can't even talk about on camera. The other one is still very exciting to me, um, and is the reason why I am making a conversation on camera. So, if you're someone that watches my videos and most likely only knows me from making book related videos, might be very surprised to know that I almost never talk about books in real life. So, I'm a shut-in, so I hardly ever leave the house if I don't have to. I go to work. I very rarely would, on my own prompting, bring up a book that I'm reading with a coworker. Occasionally, something might come up, and I might make a reference, but I never talk at length about my thoughts on literature or books or what I'm reading at the time while I'm at work. It just seems inappropriate, and I don't have the social engagement that would make it natural. Um, I do talk to Ben, my good friend Ben. He always listens to me talk about books, but I don't have bookish friends where um, I get together and talk about things that I'm reading and listening to what other people will read. Um, it's a very private um, experience for me, with the major exception that I make public videos while I'm just sitting in a room alone talking. And so the second piece of kind of exciting bookish news will result in a book that I got in the mail today, which I'll show after a little bit of a backstory. And so um, I work at a kind of corporate retail company. I've mentioned it by name, so you might know. And it's the kind of thing where uh, you have a boss, and your boss has a boss, and you have the boss has a bigger boss, and things like that. And so there was a day, it was months ago, one of the higher ups had come to this store, and it's someone that has a lot of responsibility, is responsible for many stores, and makes rounds, but kind of by necessity can't be a frequent visitor. So gets to our store as often as the person can, but it's relatively an event if the person shows up, depending on your role, I suppose. But months ago, he told this story, and it was supposed to be like a parallel to something work related. There's Daphne, and it was a fishing story. And afterwards, I was talking to him, and I mentioned it reminded me of a story by a French author, Guy de Maupassant. It's one of my favorite short stories by him. I think it's called At Sea. I'm sure that's right. I think I might have even made a video about it. And we talked, and then a couple months go by, and the person's back visiting our store, and we end up in a private conversation, and he was asking about my reading, and I mentioned whatever I was reading at the time, and he mentioned kind of like managerial books, like business books that he had found interesting and instructive, and it was a very nice conversation. I wrote it down. I can't remember by name, but I wrote down the books that he had mentioned, And then I suppose like a week ago, he came visiting again and said that I don't want to get it wrong, but if I think it was like his wife's friend had spent a lot of time writing a novel and finally got it published. And he tells me about it. And so I wrote everything down and ordered the book. I really do feel blessed, or certainly not blessed, but grateful for all of the book recommendations that I get, mostly in comments in my comments on my YouTube videos, or sometimes private emails, book recommendations. And I wish I could just order everything that everybody recommends. I don't have the means. I also don't have the time, and I have to be relatively selective with my budget, frankly. But a real life conversation where someone recommends a book to me is so rare that I just find myself compelled to investigate. And so I ordered the book, and I'll show it here. It's called Altered by Tam Doyle. And I think it has a very attractive cover, and it's independently published. It's available on Amazon, which is where I bought it. And the way that it was described to me in conversation from, I don't know how to say it, it's not a coworker, but someone that I work with or work under the same company, I guess, was that it was sort of like a future dystopian novel where there are rights from the government that are being controlled on the citizens of the world, which obviously makes me think about things like 1984 and Fahrenheit and Brave New World, among others. There's the kind of the big three. But I'll read the back. I haven't actually looked at it yet. It did have a bunch of reviews on Amazon, which is nice to see. But it says, sheltered from the truth, 17-year-old Elodie Michaels lives in a world where reproductive rights are controlled and families are crafted by the government. Raised by her mother in a small island community just outside the government's reach, Elodie is content to live a shielded life. I wonder if that should be sheltered. To live a shielded life under her world until her world comes crashing down when her mother and boyfriend are killed fighting a cause she didn't know existed. Elodie flees the island in an attempt to escape her grief, only to find a world where people are altered under the law, rights are taken away, and no one questions a thing. Befriended by Riley, a girl caught up in the drama of teen life, and her brother Luke, whose kindness softens the edges of her pain, she begins to accept her new fate until she is swept up into a dangerous scheme by her stepmother. Life spins out of control when lies start to unfold, and Elodie is forced to make a decision: stay and keep, allowing others to control her life, or risk a perilous escape for the chance to hold on to all that she loves. So, from the back text, it certainly does have science fiction elements of that kind of dystopian world. It also kind of reminds me of the trappings that I associate with um, young adult fiction. I'm not quite sure because I haven't read it and I'm not familiar with the author. Um, it's about 300 pages, um, and my reading list right now is heavily stacked. I have Clarissa, which is going to be a major reading investment for me. Will take some time. Uh, I have a new reading project, which I'm very excited about. But I will put this on my reading docket. It was recommended to me by a person in real life. um, I bought the thing with my money, so I am looking forward to it. Um, if I when I read it and if I like it, I would be very happy to make a video talking about what I think about it. Um, so, Altered by Tam Doyle, if that sounds interesting to you, Daphne, um, or if you know the author, I'm not sure what else the person has written, um, but I found it on Amazon. So, Altered by Tam Doyle, a new recommendation for me. So, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you would like. Thank you and take care. Daphne. Daphne, do you hear that? I love her. Okay. Take care.